Good morning. It's a good morning for the markets. They're happy. Let's see if they stay happy. So this gap up is pretty big. As far as spiders are gapping almost a point, 1.5%. IWM almost 2%. Qs over 1.5%. Those are pretty big gaps. But kind of an igniting gap since it's this breakdown failure that we spoke about yesterday, and the turn, and it did all the right things during the trading day, holding on to the gain and building support, and then rally in the end of the day, and then you can see a little overnight data here in the spiders, and then up and away. After Europe opens up for a little bit, I assume they're going up. So we're getting this counter trend rally, obviously, and it's gapping. Since I have this line right into that gap fill, you can't see the line. As I move it, you can see where spiders are trading right now, and it's right into that gap fill. And a little bit of congestion there. So I think, it should get maybe a little bit further into there, and it's going to stall. It has come a long way. You can see the move, and now a significant gap above these highs and into this resistance area. And we'll see what they look like on the futures. I think it could be a little bit of a, maybe hangs up there for, well, who knows, half hour at the most. The best thing it could do, and I'll tell you why, the best thing it could do is a gap and crap immediately and start coming back down. I was initially going to say hang up there for a half hour. That would be worse, I think, if it starts coming in after that, because then it builds up an area of resistance and it could come down a bit harder versus, just gapping up and profit taking coming in because it's in a downtrend. It really would make sense and a little bit more bullish, actually. I guess if it went sideways and broke out would be more bullish, obviously, right? But I don't know that it's going to do that in a downtrend. It'd be a little too far, too fast. But if it gaps up and craps and comes down, I guess into this area right here, buyers would be willing to step up again after some profit taking. Because look, the pattern, as we talk about, is a picture of psychology. So now that we got this breakdown failure, the greater than 100% retracement that we talked about starting last week, and the turn and yada, yada, right? So now traders want to participate. And so there should be buyers on pullbacks, maybe, well, this isn't very much, right? It's right there anyway, just a little above that high. But somewhere down in here would be a pretty normal kind of pullback. And, yesterday's open, or close, I should say, give or take, should be where buyers should want to step up. Now, yeah, that's going to leave a little overnight congestion, but look, overnight versus the day chart, I think we'll go with the day chart. I mean, it may be a little stall point anyway. Whatever it's going to do, at some point, I believe it's going to stall today. Whether it gets a little further up or just craps out first thing in the morning, and then it'll consolidate. I think typical pattern would be for it to consolidate the short-term gains from that turn, and we'll see how that plays out. Okay. Futures, we get the overnight data, and you see here, and so the range of that bar, it's getting close. Maybe it gets a little bit further, but that is a long run, and getting close to that resistance. Now it took out the highs. That's a good thing. But as you know, momentum moves create voids. And so as it begins to pull back, pullbacks toward like 3,700. Well, look, if it gets to 3,800, which I think it could be a stretch, but hey, that could be where it's headed. The next whole number, it's really not that far away. And that's where the resistance is. And if institutions are all ready to get all in as much as possible here, that would be an upside target, looking at the futures. So with that in mind, and I don't think the 20 MA is possible today. That would be a hell of a run. So I don't think that's possible. Anyway, so you got to create an opinion somewhere just based on your method. That's what it is. All right. So SPX, we know it's around here, right? So dragging that up, so we know where the spiders are. So right around there, 37.50. Can we get some juice above 3,800? Let's look. Oh, really? 40 by 50. Well, if it keeps going up, that'll increase. And they got a big jump from 37.95 to 3,800. 37.95. I think that's the choice. What's on the downside? It would definitely have to be below 3,700. Wow. Whoa. Is McGraw here? What do you make of this, McGraw? 36.40, 75 by 85. And it's up here. I think that's a no-brainer. No, 36.40. I'm just looking at this to make sure I'm looking right. 36.40 is 75 by 85, expiring today. Let me say 36.40. 36.40. Right down there. And I would look to see if this continues at the open, where those that may be a little foolish might we want to buy this at the open, and maybe it sprints a little bit further. So the 36.40, you can do that right away. And then if this should push up, then above 3,800. All right. Anything else moving along here? Well, of course they're moving along here. And the Qs are coming right up to this resistance there. So makes me think, can the S&Ps get much further? And oil moved pretty good yesterday. The oil stocks, they were already up at resistance. I'm not looking to see if they're gapping or not, but nice turn, just where it's supposed to happen on the weekly chart. And we'll see what that looks like at the end of the week. It's a long way to go. Okay, Alex. All right. Gotcha. Thank you for that. Russell, and you know what? This is what makes the markets difficulty. It's that schizophrenic type of Mr. Schizo kind of thing, and that, and I'm looking at this is outperforming and it looks great. Like, it looked really good yesterday. And this topping tail day, it was leading the way. It was at the high, and then buyers just gave it up and it turned into a topping tail. And that's, where the others broke down. But, you look at something in hindsight and, it's like I'm talking about, you're like living the charts. And so maybe you went to some candlestick website, right? And, you read about these different names and candles, and, you really haven't experienced the market yet. You're new, right? We all go through that. And they're like, oh, that's a hammer. Look at how that made a bottom. Yeah. But what did that make you think? when it was a big green bar and then turned into a topping tail bar. Of course, no weakness, it could go down, and it went down, and we got that reversal. So you look at these candles, and you know what they mean, the theory, the textbook, and all that, and then you live them, and that's why I came up with this idea of bar by bar analysis, which I think it was a moment of brilliance on my part. When I look back on it, it just seemed at the time. I know I'm pumping myself up here a little bit, but look, at the time it was just a way of controlling emotions, and it grew into something more. Really helpful, powerful tool. All right, let me keep going here. Dow led the way down. It's cleared the highs. It's got room to go up. It's extended. So you want to be careful here. First thing in the morning, not to be jumping on things that already moved a whole bunch. Bitcoin's still lagging, but improving, right? It's coming up to resistance there. We'll keep an eye on that. There's my crude oil. Moving up. But that's got its pluses and minuses. So in the short term, it's plus because, hey, crude oil going down, recession, so on and so forth. And now we got a little bit of a turn there. If the markets go up, Rob, the market's going up. Let's see if they pop up a little bit, if we can get above 3,800, because you had to go to 37.95. So I don't know if I want to be on the bottom side of 3,800. 3,800 is 65 by 75. But if it'll run up a little bit at the open, maybe you can get to 38.05 is 40 by 50, which, a long time ago, we used to look at that. Things were tighter, but if it goes up a little bit, so somewhere in there between, around 3,800 or a little bit more. But the bottom number, I think, is a no-brainer. I marked it down here because it's gapping up here. Right? And it's got to come all the way back down here. That would be a nasty day. Coming all the way down there. It's got to get into the gap fill and then keep going. All right. The dollar. Here's keep an eye on this. Right there, you had the wide range bar igniting the move down in the turn. And so now it's still in an uptrend. It's still an uptrend. So this come down a bit further, and then buyers are going to show up. And that's going to be where the markets are watching this, and interest rates, that the markets go through a little correction once that happens. And so the 10-year, you can see, that's just kind of drifting down. Not like the dollar coming down, it's drifting down. So buyers are going to show up there again. And the 3-month, wow, I'm saying wow because it's the first time I'm looking at it today. And that's gapping up above those highs. And so whatever these Fed guys have been talking about, I'm not listening to them, but I would imagine they're talking, hey, they're going to do that 75 basis points. And this popping up more is kind of, a fly in the ointment of, I can't find the ointment of the bullish case today. It just leads more to the potential of the gap and crap scenario. But I didn't expect that to be where gapping up like that. All right. Interesting. That's why we love the markets. They're always interesting. Silver, just, the dollar pulling back just continues to rip. And I just didn't get it over here. The dollar was still up and this thing was acting like that, and it got all jiggly. But anyway, and you had gold. That's bringing up the rear, and silver was leading, and gold was just still trending down. So markets do weird things sometimes, for sure. And transports, little bottoming pattern, not participating as much. So we have it. We had this turn. We anticipated the turn. We had some jiggles last week where it made it, and then the news and breakdown failure. And back then I said, be careful of this breakdown failure because it's already extended. More likely to be a sucker thing, then a continuation lower, and that's what we have. And so now we'll just see how far this gets. Should be put spread heaven, with these kind of patterns, because these things, we still got to the end of the week. So look, it's a lot of days, but if there's juice there, again, look at individual patterns, but the odds of this taking out this low by the end of the week seems pretty remote. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, I think we did a fantastic job yesterday trading the turn. As people in the green room know, we spent a lot of time yesterday morning before I left saying how I thought that the turn was going to hold. And so we accordingly, we got into 8, where we had 8 put spreads. Our advisory letter is 100% bullish, 0 shorts. And we even canceled the new short ideas when we saw the gap up yesterday. So, I mean, I was, when I woke up this morning, as I always do, turn on the TV, and the first thing I do is just see where the futures are trading. And I actually said, darn it. I saw the Dow up 440. I'm like, I didn't want this to happen. I wanted us to open flat and then take out yesterday's high at the 10 or 10:30 reversal. Then it would have been an absolute no-brainer to push the throttle. So yeah, we say it's going to be put spread heaven. It's harder than it is because of the stupid big gap up. I got more of a mode of tightening stops here and taking profits. So we did Home Depot yesterday. I'm looking to tighten stops. We're in IWM. That was the best of the 4 horsemen. I was going to give this as a directional trade today over yesterday's high, buy a call option. Initial target 20, and then we'll take it from there. So anyway, there's nothing I can do to change things, but at least we were not a deer in the headlights, number one. Number two, we started accumulating positions all day long on the belief that we would close strong and that it would continue going through. FedEx, I have on my put spread watch. Riven, we're still in. It had some deliveries. Maybe that's going to set up the low here. What's today? Tuesday. I don't know what happened last Friday. That was an ugly bar. So we're just gonna let it play out. AXTI had some pre-earnings announcement or whatever, gapping down. That looks ugly. All right, Home Depot on Zulu Sierra, we put on a put spread yesterday. And this is when, I talked about, I used the term TURN. And this is a term to trade that. This is a beautiful turn at the 2050, whereas I was also saying I thought the broader markets were making a turn, but in that definition, I was saying I didn't want to buy the spiders. I was just saying I think today's the day we aren't going down anymore. But we've been looking for with the internals giving us a heads up. Lou asking about Pelletier, another AV stock. You got that tail from Friday. Just like yesterday, I said I'm not rushing into any shorts whatsoever. Today, I'm not rushing into any longs. So, I mean, it looks fine, but particularly with that tail, I would wait 30 minutes minimum. Here's one of the best looking things I've found is a new setup. It's already posted in both our letters. Put spread and directional, but this is a beautiful turn at the 50. And so that's gapping up. That as a new trade, This looks fantastic. I'm just gonna try to get us a better price into the gap. Hut here was in the weekend letter. And this was one of those patterns that, greater than 100%, new low divergence, and it had to trade over this topping tail from Friday, and it's gapping over it now. This is a Bitcoin mining stock, so let's try to get a pullback on that too. XLF yesterday morning, 10 a.m. we were noticing or 10:30, noticing the nice reversal there. So and it's holding well. Let's look for some banks for some trades. Goldman here is on my list for put spread. That looks good. Let's put that in a window. Because Goldman's usually juicy. But XLF is too. But XLF is not juicy. So it's an ETF. Delta 20 asking about Dino. That sounds like a dog. Dino. It has a little continuation pattern here, but we typically don't like buying breakouts from the bottom of the range to the top. I prefer it to go sideways a little bit more. And I personally don't like the overlapping bars, but it's strong. In this market, this bear market, I always like pointing out strong moving averages like this. So you got 20 above the 50, above the 200. That's strong. Now I know your screen name is Delta 20. I'm assuming that means you like selling Delta 20 puts, which I do. See if you can sell puts way the heck out of the money on that. CHRW, we're already short the 90 puts, but see, this one's not gapping up, at least not yet. But I like the red bar ignored, small little W pattern here. Yeah, Netflix was in the weekend letter, absolutely. Yeah, that's for a new trade. Yeah, I like Netflix. I can maybe 30-minute high, but spread in directional. But again, directionals are not going to be as easy because of the stupid gap we're dealing with. I'm holding a Tesla put spread from yesterday's. Well, you got to tell me long or short for one thing. I mean, if you shorted a put spread into weakness and it's gapping up, then you should be fine. You should have an open profit on the gap up. If you have a bear put spread, then tighten stop, maybe 10-minute high or whatever. Caesars, Climo and reversal. Greg mentioned Microsoft, nice turn here. So that's a beautiful put spread idea on a pullback. WWE, it's kind of look at this big W pattern. I mean, rarely the W's are not that fat, but that's a big old fat double bottom right there. Now let's keep an eye on that for a put spread. AYI. This was the earnings one. Remember, Alex? I never got filled on my put spread. I was trying to sell the 135 put spread. That's selling puts on earnings, saying, even if it gaps down, I don't think it's going below here. So that would have worked. So I guess it's just a paper trade in my head. MTZ, we sold nice puts on this. Climo, reversal and support. That was a no-brainer. Roblex, viewed. This is a double bottom. That is a textbook formation of the curvature, up, time, retest. So we sold a put spread on that yesterday. I'm gonna set no alarms on this. I'll set an alarm at 38. And 36. It better not get down to 36. I just had Maxon alarm go off. We have short puts on this, but I set an alarm up here and I see that one tick right there, just set it off. So Roblox we're in, Zulu Sierra we're in, gapping up $5. So we should have a nice open profit at the open. Asian, we're short puts. And that's a beautiful weekly bottoming pattern. That I think we got to get into this as a core. That looks great. I'm going to put that in another window. I'm setting an alarm here on IP. We're in. Fizzler. Yeah. One of you asked me yesterday about a put spread, and I said sure for Friday or next week. I forget. I would be afraid of a condor unless you could give me the strikes and the juice and the days, because that's in a power up trend. Why do you want to mess with that? We have a condor on Duolingo. Now compare the two daily charts, Stephen. Just look at the moving averages. Exactly. This is absolute exhibit A. Look, every day it's just giving you a headache. So again, this is walking into the Wynn Hotel and saying, hey, where can I make money if something just stays in a coma? And he's going to be, same answer, sir, you're in the wrong place. We don't offer that type of game here. But guess what? We do in the stock market. Marriott alarm, I just had go off. Nice gap there. We have a put spread on this for Friday. Looks good. I'll be tightening the stop. Setting new alarms. No, but I like to give silly analogies. When you buy stock or short it, that's all you can do. It's like, how boring. I mean, what if you walked into the Wynn Hotel and they only had one game? Poker, that's all they have. It's like, well, that's boring. Give me some more choices. Greg found this yesterday, CCRN, wide range igniting. That would be a fantastic 1, 2, 3. If we got an inside day. Yeah, bottoming pattern. I personally hate trading gold, and oil's not far behind. But it's about, man, I got a ton of alarms going off here. CVCO, we can sell a put spread. I entered mine early yesterday. Coin, we sold a put spread. I got alarms going nuts here. Coin, we sold a put spread, another bottoming pattern, a Bolu note. We actually entered this as a core trade yesterday. I mean, this could be the absolute home run. And this goes to, I don't know, 100, 120. I have no idea. I'll tell you in a couple of weeks or months. Cube was on the list from yesterday. I set an alarm at 40.60. Let's keep an eye on that. I'm talking about Duolingo. I just had an up alarm. I had an alarm at 100. Well, it's still fine. Our short strike is 115. So I'm just gonna move the up alarm to, 103. And my alarms are going nuts. I cannot keep up with this. Our Zulu Sierra.